Okay, okay. Sige. Thank you.
Sir, okay na.
Okay, ako na siya yung screen share. Sir Gio, okay na natin i-start, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, my name is Joy Garingo. I am from the Company CEBU. The Company CEBU is a co-working space and serviced office provider. We have different branches all over the world, and we have one here in Cebu IT Park and another one in Cebu, Mandaue. Um, Today, we're going to have our third session. It's about developing the business under Startup Island PH. This is actually our I think the second formal class for our startup mentoring program. This program is actually done in collaboration with DTI Region 7 Central Visayas, QBO Philippines, the company Cebu, and of course, those who partnered with us, especially the mentors that we will be learning from this afternoon. What is Startup Island PH? Basically, Startup Island is a community-led organization, and its aim is to build economically sustainable and stronger startups, and to also develop a robust ecosystem that will help provide support
Is
for
a
startups when
community-led
it comes to
organization,
mentors, comprehensive
and its aim is
training,
to
and
build
even networking
economically
activities that
sustainable
would allow them to access a network of investors and even partners and collaborators. So this afternoon, we are delighted to have our third mentor. She is Timmy de Jesus. Hi, Miss Timmy. Can you turn on your camera? Hi. How are you? Awesome. All right. So, Ms. Timmy will be headlining this session today. Again, as I said earlier, our session will be about developing the business. Last time it was about developing the organization. And today, again, it's about developing the business. Last week, we learned about forming your team. What are the best practices to implement once you are trying to structure your organization. And today we are going to learn how we can develop a good business model, how to go about validation, and other things. So Miss Timmy, our head mentor for today, is the co-founder and chief operations officer of Payruler. A Payruler is a comprehensive and customizable end-to-end human resource management system, which is perfect for Philippine businesses. Managing one's finances is very important, especially now. So if you need a good solution, go ahead and get in touch with Payruler or shoot Miss Timmy de Jesus a message, and I'm pretty sure that she will give you the details that you need for your organization. So Miss Timmy is a systems analyst by profession with over 8 years of experience as a project manager of various IT teams. In fact, she led the Philippine office of JFDI Asia, which is Asia's #1 startup accelerator, and as the country manager for 2 years. Impressive. Her initiatives in the Philippine and Singapore tech communities include organizing several events of Cebu Startup Weekend. Startup Weekend is basically a global movement to nurture startups and entrepreneurs. And she also helps provide tech mentorship for Startup to Life in Singapore, which is, again, one of the many platforms for aspiring entrepreneurs. So I can't wait for us to learn more about how we can really go about in developing the business from Ms. Timmy de Jesus, and later during the panel discussion from Mr. JP Chiongbian of Let's Eat, Buy, and Sugbo Mercado, from Ms. Grace Granlund from GetMore PH, and of course from Ms. Karla Legaspi from QBO Philippines. Anyway, Ms. Timmy, take it away. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Joy. Thank you for the
You're
intro.
welcome. Hi.
I'm gonna share my screen. Is my can my slides be seen na?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so yeah, wonderful. So everyone, thank you for being here. I welcome you to the program, and I commend you for being here. It really is admirable. Let me just check something. Just let me figure out my. Okay. Can is my screen okay?
Yes, we can see the timer po.
Okay, the timer. All right, so yeah, wait. I think this is the wrong screen. Just let me figure that out.
No problem. Actually, to add, Miss Timmy has been one of our OGs, right? Ever since Vince, Jan, and Ma'am Nanette started Startup Island, Miss Timmy is one of our suki, charot. She's one of our main mentors, and she's always had really good discussions, especially with the startup mentees from batches 1 and 2. So this is actually the first time that Miss Timmy is doing this online with our mentees for Startup Island. All right, Miss Timmy, ready? Ready?
I think we are good. I think I do see my screen. I'm checking at it on the other side kasi.
Yes. I can also see it on my side na.
Okay, wonderful. Perfect. So again, welcome everyone. I commend you for being here. It really is admirable that you're taking steps into your leap into entrepreneurship. So congratulations on that alone. And as entrepreneurs and future entrepreneurs, your energy really is, it is the most valuable form of capital in your business. There's a quote by Henry David Thoreau that, when any real progress is made, you really need to unlearn and relearn anew what we thought we knew before. So I guess my ask here is that, growth, it really isn't a linear thing. And you probably know even more than me. And I have no doubt that that's true, but really to do something that you've never done before and to achieve something that you've never experienced before, you need to kind of let go of repeating the patterns and, breaking through that. So, as this afternoon, you give me the privilege of your time. And as we go through a few exercises this afternoon, I ask one thing of you, and that's to be willing to unlearn and relearn some things. Because, even if you think it's too theoretical or just go through the motions, and I promise you that it will uncover some stuff for you. Because, starting a startup is very unconventional. Building a business from the ground up is no easy feat. But that doesn't mean that, there are no rules or constraints or frameworks that you need to abide by. So take maybe flying, for example, or air travel. It's still somewhat mind-boggling that, people can travel from point A to point B through the air. But even that feat alone is like governed by gravity and aerodynamics and the laws of physics. So the same is for you and your business. This endeavor requires you to learn to operate under the governance of, the economy, the law of supply and demand, and the most unpredictable cog of it all, which is really your customer and her needs. Because without them, without anyone to pay for what you're trying to sell, there would be no business, right? So my question is now, so do you need a business plan? Who here has made one for your particular startup? And in the first place, do you think you need a business plan? So the answer to that is you definitely need a plan, but it doesn't have to be a business plan. Because, the problem, I illustrated there in my slides, is the problem with writing down a business plan so early in your business is that it's a very daunting task. And when you think business plan, you think these stack of documents, right? And unless you have a team and all the metrics in place, it will take weeks to create. And by the time you've wrapped up on your document, something in the market has probably changed. Like you'd have to probably change something in sales and marketing or the operating plan. Because, as in startups, things change very quickly, day on day, week on week, that kind of thing. So as the business plan was really created. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not useful. The business plan was created to mitigate risks. It's the same in any business, be it a small business, be it a big business, a new one or an old one. But for us new businesses, there is an easier way to manage this. And guess what? It actually only takes 20 minutes to assemble it. And I'm very fond of one-pagers just because I always love seeing everything at a glance. So, you need to change something in your business plan, super easy. You need to pivot or tweak anything in your solution or change an assumption. All you need to do is edit and then you're done, right? So efficient. So we're going to work on sort of like a business plan this afternoon. And the basis of that is from this book. This is a really good read for startup founders, especially when you start. This is something I really picked up when I worked at the accelerator. So it's called Running Lean. I'm happy to share a copy of this. I'll upload it to Drive after the session so that you can make this your homework during the week. So what I need for us to do, so this is not gonna be like your typical like lecture because I'm gonna let whatever you do or the guides speak for itself. So I need for you guys, for the teams, to sign up for a free account here. So this is called Lean Stack. I will share the link of this to the group. but you can easily just Google it actually, leanstack.com, and then you will find that there. And then let's see. After that, I would need for you guys to create your lean canvas while playing the video. So my only advice is like, don't be frustrated with the space, because that's exactly the point. Small boxes on the canvas will allow you to fill it up without going too in-depth and getting lost in the details that don't really matter yet. So it really forces you to condense and really focus on the things that matter. So essentially what we're doing is building our business plan in the form of a lean canvas in 20 minutes. So I can assure you that this is very much possible. We've done this several times, and I think we've done this in the previous iterations of this program, and the startups were definitely able to do this. Okay, so I'm going to share the links now on our chat group. And because the video is only 23 and something minutes, I'm gonna give everyone the next 30 minutes to work on their lean canvas. I assume that the groups will work together and that you guys will have, like, I don't know, your own Zoom room where you guys can like share, collaborate on your lean stack. So yeah, I will do that right now. I will share the links. Give me a second. Your own Zoom room where you guys can like share, collaborate. Okay. Okay, so I shared it on the group. Can you guys let me know if you don't see it, or if you have trouble accessing it? So again, the instructions are to play the video while you fill up your lean canvas. So if you notice, like, we usually go around and we talk about the startups, and we talk about, we always start with the pitch, but I would actually much rather know a little bit more about your business through the lean canvas that you're going to share. So essentially, I'm going to give you guys the next 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to start a timer actually, to fill it up. And then after that, where each of the startups are going to go around. So I'm going to let Joy decide on the order of the startups, like who's going to go first. And then you're going to have 2 minutes to present your lean canvas, like based on what you understand from the video and how you present your business. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start my timer now. And yep, so you guys have the next 30 minutes to do that.
All right. Thank you, Miss Timmy.
Okay.
canvas in 20 minutes. Hi, this is Ash with Spark 59. Today I'm going to show you how to create your initial business model canvas in 20 minutes. You might be wondering why just 20 minutes. After all, a business model is a pretty complicated and critical thing to get right. Surely you should spend a lot more time on this. But here's the thing, the perfect canvas is a myth. In 20 minutes. Studies have shown that most successful companies report having drastically changed. Hi, this is Ash with Spark 59. Today I'm going to show you how to create your initial business model canvas in 20 minutes along the way. Companies like Groupon, PayPal, Flickr are all examples of this. What really separates successful products from those that don't make it isn't necessarily starting with a perfect plan, but finding a plan that works before running out of resources. The way you do that isn't through rhetorical reasoning on a whiteboard in pursuit of that perfect plan, but rather through empirical testing, getting outside the building and stress testing and then refining your plan. Time is the scarcest resource in a startup, which is why it is important to time box your initial canvas so you don't fall into the analysis paralysis trap. I find that 20 minutes is enough time for the first pass. Perfection is not the goal here, but rather the goal is to sketch or baseline a snapshot of your current thinking. With that out of the way, let's get started. If you haven't done this already, head on over to leancanvas.com and click the Create Your Canvas button to sign up for a free account. After creating your account, you will be prompted to name your first canvas. I like to name my canvases by the customer segment they address because I find that the customer segment box drives the rest of the canvas. You probably already have an inkling of possible customers your product addresses in your head, but the first step is splitting these broad customer segments into even smaller verticals. Each of these vertical segments potentially represents a different business model and should ideally have its own canvas. This is sometimes hard to see, so it might help to consider an example. This is an actual product I built in my last company. Cloudflare was a service that helped people share lots of photos and videos easily with each other. The really broad category here was anyone that shares lots of photos and videos. While I would have loved to service that market, it's not specific enough. When you try to market to everyone, especially as a startup, you end up marketing to no one. Down below, you'll see a number of more specific and possible customer segments that I then created. Sometimes the split won't be perfect. For instance, photographers, videographers, and graphic designers may share enough common attributes to be lumped together as a creative segment. I wouldn't worry too much about that right now. The most important thing, though, is not going too broad, like using the anyone that shares lots of photos and videos, or going too narrow, where you shrink the market size too much. The next step is to pick your strongest customer segment for your canvas. This might be one you most want to service, know the most about, or have the strongest channel to reach. Whatever your reasons, start with a single customer segment and use that as the name of your canvas. For the Cloudflare product, I decided to use parents as my first customer segment, mostly because I had recently become a parent around that time frame and observed several problems that I was motivated to explore. After doing this, you should then see the canvas screen. You can simply click in any of the boxes to start typing. The blue numbers indicate a suggested order for traversing the canvas. This order is only a recommendation. Even I'm going to deviate from it slightly in this video based on a newer flow I have been more recently using. For the rest of the video, I'm going to walk the canvas and show you how to fill each section using the Cloudflare product as a concrete example you can reference. It is most effective to complete your canvas as I cover each section while the content is still fresh in your mind. So I'll have you pause the video after each section before moving on. So my preferred flow these days is to complete the canvas in a set of blocks. The first block that I like to tackle is the problem customer segment quadrant. So much of your business model is dependent on the proper identification of customers and their problems that a solid footing here creates a very strong foundation for the rest of your canvas. You've already identified your main customer segment from earlier, which goes in the customer segment box. It's common to have multiple participants or user roles in your business model. I would next go ahead and list all of them out here, but you should distinguish between customers and users when you do so. That distinction is pretty simple. Customers pay you and your users do not. For most products, that distinction is also pretty straightforward. In a software as a service product, for instance, you attract leads or users and aim to convert some or all of them into paying customers. In a multi-sided business like the one driven by advertising, for example, Google search, you have users who create value through participation that you then monetize through ads. Here, the advertisers are your customers and the users are those that are doing searches. For these types of products, I recommend keeping both users and customers on a single canvas. Marketplace businesses, however, are a lot more complicated. Here you often have two or more parties that simultaneously work to create value. Classic examples are eBay, Airbnb, where you need both buyers and sellers to make the business work. Additionally, each party often has a different incentive, channel, and other elements on the canvas that you also need to understand. So for these types of businesses, I recommend creating a separate canvas for each party involved. As a slight aside, there is a hashtag feature in the Lean Canvas tool that lets you visually group different customer segments on the same canvas. In the screenshot above, you'll notice different colors for buyers and sellers on the canvas based on the hashtags that are reused in multiple sections. This is a nice feature that lets you quickly keep all your customer segments on a single canvas and toggle them on and off. But if you're more comfortable creating separate canvases, do that instead. Now it's time to get even more specific with your customer segments and further narrow them down into early adopters. Early adopters are those people that need your product the most, and the early success of your business model is going to be highly dependent on how well you can define and qualify your early adopters. While we all would like to build a product like Facebook that is used by practically everyone on the planet, even Facebook started with a very specific early adopter, which happened to be a college student, and not just any college student, but a college student on the Harvard campus. Here's a customer segment box for the Cloudflare product. I have listed parents as the primary customer and their family and friends as viewers. Down below, I further qualified my early adopters to be parents with younger kids because I felt that they would need my product more than parents with older kids. Pause the video here and complete your customer segment box before moving on. With your customer segments and early adopters defined, we'll now move on to the problem box. Outline the top 3 problems your product addresses for this early adopter. You can have less than 3 problems, but try not to list more than 3. A helpful technique for uncovering good problems at this stage is using a 5 whys. You start with a customer problem, which is usually a surface problem or symptom. You then ask yourself why this is a problem, and do this 5 times, each time refining the list of problems till you have a list of deeper problems that you can put on your canvas. Here's an example of this technique applied to the Cloudflare product. Another useful technique is using the job to be done concept popularized by Clayton Christensen. The basic idea here is that customers hire your product to get a job done. This is often something they have already been trying to do, but probably unsuccessfully. Once you correctly identify that job, you're in a much better position to identify underlying problems and eventually define a solution for that. This idea also ties nicely into the next quadrant, where you ask yourself how your early adopters solve these problems today. Here you want to be able to describe your customer's current reality. What existing solutions or alternatives are they using today to get the job done? Doing nothing, by the way, is also an alternative. As we'll see shortly, this information will be invaluable in properly positioning and pricing your product. Here is my filled out problem box for the Cloudflare product. You'll see a list of 3 top problems I picked from the earlier 5 whys analysis, along with a list of possible existing alternatives parents use for photo and video sharing. Pause the video here and complete your problem box before moving on. The next set of blocks I like to tackle is the combination of your solution, your unique value proposition, and revenue streams. These 3 things taken together help to define your offer or minimum viable product, which I'll define here in a second. The solution box is the one we entrepreneurs are most in love with because we love to build cool stuff. But your solution isn't usually what's riskiest on the canvas. Instead of falling in love with your solution, embrace the concept of a minimum viable product. The minimum viable product is the smallest solution you can build that still delivers customer value. That is, it still solves a specific problem and ideally also captures some of that value, which is just a fancy way of saying it gets you paid. Until you gain a deep understanding of your customers and their problems, you cannot really define the right solution. That said, I'm sure you have an inkling of what you'd like to build anyway, so let's list those, but still constrain them around the top 3 problems you listed earlier. So for each problems that you listed earlier, briefly outline how you envision solving them using your solution. Here is my filled out solution box for the Cloudfire product. I envision solving these problems with software and list the top 3 features I would need to include in my minimum viable product. Again, pause the video here and complete your solution box before moving on. Next, we turn to the unique value proposition. Not only is this one of the hardest things to get right, but it's also the most critical, at least initially. When you first introduce a product, the initial battle is all about getting noticed by customers. It's getting a chance to have a meaningful dialogue with a prospect. You get this chance by making a compelling offer or promise represented by your unique value proposition. The good news is that, like everything else on your canvas, your unique value proposition is also a guess or hypothesis. You'll have lots of opportunity to test and refine it later. Here are some techniques for getting started. Your unique value proposition is derived from the intersection of your problem and your solution. So craft your unique value proposition around your number 1 problem. And instead of just thinking in terms of top features and benefits, think in terms of your finished story benefit. Your finished story benefit is the value a customer derives after using your product. So if you have a job board service, for instance, your unique value proposition isn't the cool resume building feature you have, but rather the promise of helping job seekers find their dream job. Next, avoid the use of empty words like simple, fast, or easy. Yes, I know Apple uses these all the time, but you are not Apple. They can get away with it because they have built a reputation and brand around simplicity. You haven't and need to be a lot more specific with your unique value proposition. Here's a formula by way of Dane Maxwell for creating a compelling unique value proposition that uses 3 fragments. The first is the end result the customer wants, which is like the finished story benefit. The next is constraining that with a specific period of time when they would see these results. And then finally, you want to address any objections they might have. The second and third items in the formula are great if you can fit them into your unique value proposition without sounding overly salesy. Otherwise, leave them out. Down below are several examples of unique value propositions that use a finished story benefit with some or all of these elements. And finally, it's a good exercise to work on your high concept pitch. The high concept pitch is something Hollywood producers use all the time to distill the script of a new movie they are pitching into a memorable soundbite. So for instance, instead of describing the movie Aliens, they might just say it's like the movie Jaws, only in space. You can do the same thing with products. For example, when YouTube first launched, the founders were describing it as Flickr for videos. It's important to recognize that the high concept pitch is not a unique value proposition. It's not something you'd put on your landing page, but it is valuable nonetheless. It's valuable for helping spreading the meme of your product by word of mouth. Here is my filled out unique value proposition for the Cloudfire product. You'll see a couple of unique value propositions here along with a simple high level concept. Pause the video here and complete your unique value proposition box before continuing on. Next, we're going to cover your revenue streams or pricing box. At first glance, this might seem a little out of place since we have mostly been considering aspects around your solution. But pricing is very much part of your solution. It's very much part of your product. I often use an example to illustrate this. Imagine you have 2 bottles of water in front of you. One is priced at $1 and the other at $3. Which one do you think is better? Even though both bottles would probably be indistinguishable in a blind taste test, here price alone has the power to define the product in your mind. The next question, which bottled water would you pick? Not only is price a part of your product, but it also determines the customers you attract. In the case of bottled water, we know markets exist at both price points, but the customers who routinely buy $3 bottled water are different from those that would prefer the $1 bottle. Pricing is often considered more art than science and can seem pretty daunting, but there are some simple techniques for getting you started. I often see entrepreneurs doing cost-based pricing versus value-based pricing, which is a mistake. Remember, customers hire your product to get a job done. When they view your product, they naturally compare it against their existing alternatives, not what it costs you to deliver your solution. These alternatives serve as price anchors in your customers' minds. That is why it is so important to understand these existing alternatives and then position your solution against them. I'm also a big proponent of keeping your pricing as simple as possible, at least at the beginning. Resist the urge to create multiple pricing plans at this point. Rather, pick a price aimed at your early adopters and keep their existing alternatives in mind. In the case of a multi-sided business model, even though you aren't directly charging your users, you are still building an asset. The challenge with these business models is that this asset isn't worth anything until you pass a certain threshold or tipping point. Find out what that tipping point is and get some ballpark numbers on the value of that asset by looking at comparable advertising rates and/or acquisitions depending on the type of business you are building. Here is my filled out revenue streams box for the Cloudfire product. I use my existing alternatives as anchors, which range from $0 with Facebook all the way to $99 for the Apple Mobile Me service. I use these alternatives to come up with my starting price of $49 a year. Pause the video here and complete your revenue stream box before moving on. Next, we're going to cover channels or your path to customers. Your channels or path to customers are one of the more riskier items on your canvas. You might be able to identify a problem worth solving, build out a solution, and even get a small group of customers to derive value from it. But if you can't get your product in front of enough customers, none of that might matter. Channels aren't something to defer to later, but rather something you should start building and testing from day one. The good news is that you don't need to build scalable channels from day one. It's okay to start with a handful of outbound channels to jumpstart your learning first. Here are some possible outbound channel suggestions that might help. At the same time, take a stab at identifying where your scalable channels might come from. These typically take time to build, so it helps to think about them now versus later. Here's a list of some possible scalable channels that you might be able to employ later on. Now here's my filled out channels box for the Cloudfire product. You'll find a combination of outbound and inbound channels listed here. Pause the video here and complete your channels box before moving on. Now we're going to move on to how you measure success using key metrics. Key metrics represent the key numbers that tell you how your business is doing. A startup is inherently chaotic, but at any given point in time, there are only a few key actions or metrics that matter. These will change as your product moves through various stages, but at this point in time, I'd like you to identify two key metrics. The first is identifying the key customer action that drives value in your product. In other words, ask yourself, what key activity would you use to measure your value proposition? So for example, if you were building a blogging platform, publishing a blog post would be the key activity. For Twitter, posting a tweet is a key activity. The second key metric is stating your success metric for your product. What would you need to achieve to make this product worthwhile? It could be a revenue target, like building a $10 million business or a $100 million business. It could be having some impact on the world, or it could be something else altogether. Here is my filled out key metrics box for the Cloudfire product. My key activity is based around sharing. If a parent doesn't routinely share their photos and videos with others, chances are they will lose interest and not keep paying for the product. My success metric for Cloudfire was building a $5 million business, which roughly translated to acquiring 100,000 paying customers. Pause the video here and complete your key metrics box before moving on. We're at the home stretch now. After getting hit with a killer idea and convincing yourself it's worth pursuing, the next thing that should be keeping you up at night is how you build enough runway for your product. We'll use this section to do some ballpark sizing of your business model and estimate scope and feasibility of implementing it. Start by outlining your fixed and variable costs, things like people, servers, and other resources you will need to implement this business model. It's impossible to be totally accurate at this stage because a lot of it will change with time. It does help to consider a shorter horizon like a break-even point and use your pricing and cost structure to come up with the number of customers you would need to break even. And then go all the way. Calculate how many customers you would need to realize your metric for success from earlier. Again, the point is not accuracy, but ballpark sizing for establishing if you have a problem worth solving on your hands. Here is my filled out cost structure box for the Cloudfire product. Pause the video here and complete your cost structure box and do a similar sizing estimate. And now the final box, the unfair advantage. Unfair advantage is also sometimes called competitive advantage or barriers to entry on a business plan. It essentially describes how you'll defend against competitive attacks. Most first-time entrepreneurs don't completely understand what constitutes an unfair advantage and often list things that aren't. One of the most commonly cited unfair advantage is being first to market. Take a look at these companies. None of them were first movers in their markets, but fast followers. One could actually argue that being first to market can be a disadvantage because the burden of learning and marketing a new product is all on the first mover. Here are other things commonly cited on business plans. First movers in their markets. All of these things, while important, but fast, don't create a sustainable unfair advantage on their own. One could actually argue. So what is a real unfair advantage? I subscribe to a simple definition. Being first to market can be a disadvantage. Who is currently the burden of WP Engine. Here are other things commonly cited on business where first movers in their markets. All of these things, while important, his definition is that a real unfair advantage is something that cannot be easily copied or bought. So let's list out some examples of some real unfair advantages. The bad news is that you probably didn't see an unfair advantage that applies to you today. The good news is that that's okay. Even Facebook didn't really have an unfair advantage when they started. They were number 11 or 12 at building a social network, but they still managed to build the largest social network on the planet, which has now become their unfair advantage. The more important thing is to have an unfair advantage story. 12. Unlike the other boxes on the canvas, the unfair advantage is unfortunately not one you decide to test one day. If and when you start getting some traction with your product, your unfair advantage will be tested by competition and copycats. You may also not have a readily identifiable unfair advantage today. Rather than listing something weak and clearly not an unfair advantage, leave this section blank. Some unfair advantages are revealed over time, like in the case of Zappos. Having a blank box staring back at you also serves as a constant reminder to keep looking for one. Here is my filled out unfair advantage box for the Cloudfire product. Since it's targeted at a very specific and emotional niche, I envision building differentiation over time by fostering a strong sense of community among my customers. Pause the video here and complete your unfair advantage box. So there you have it. If you followed along, you should have captured your first business model. Congratulations. Next time, I'll cover how to bulletproof this business model from here and show you how to start the process of stress testing your plan A. Until then, take care.
All right, thank you so much. So that was the video that our mentees are supposed to view. And then what's going to happen now is we will be calling one of our mentees to present their lean canvas. But we will give them at least 5 minutes to wrap up. So while our mentees are wrapping up, I will announce the order of the presentation. So first will be Tip Z, and then si Lifeline Tech, and then Schooly, and then Bayanico. After Bayanico, we have DLM, Lawn Drive, Anski, Timeline, and Kalikasan Cam. So it's the same with our lineup last week. Sige. So we'll give you time to wrap things up, and then we'll start with Anski. Hi, Miss Timmy. Miss Timmy?
Hi, yeah.
Hi, all right. So during this session na, so all of the startups will be given 2 minutes, no, to present their lean canvas.
Yes, just 2 minutes. Because there are 9, right? So we need let's keep it short and simple lang.
All right. So there are 9 of them, and then 2 minutes each, and then after Um, do you do you ask them questions after their presentation or after everyone now?
I think we can do that during the Q&A na lang, like if they have very
Late.
specific questions. Yeah.
All right, especially
Yeah.
during the fireside later.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Because they might want to be showing their lean canvas to the rest of the very esteemed mentors and ask them what they think about some stuff like with Miss Grace and JP. So that would make it more interactive.
All right, sige. So maybe they'll just na lang present their lean canvas after, right? After the live or
Well, up to you. We
yeah.
can like go ahead with the with the rest of the program.
All
I'm
right,
just
sige,
going
sige.
to
All right, sige,
so
Miss
that we can
Timmy.
also
So,
give them time in between.
all right, sige. So, we'll go ahead and have them present their canvas, their lean canvas, and then after which we'll proceed na lang with you and then the panel
Yeah.
discussion. All right,
Yeah.
sige. And tip Z, ready? Okay, sige. Sige. Tip Z, Lifeline. Is Lifeline ready na? Or Tip Z, Rolex?
Sorry ma'am, not yet ready.
All right, sige. So si Lifeline na lang first.
I
All right,
I have an
sige.
incomplete lean canvas. Is that okay? Or do you need a complete one, Miss Joy?
Complete is better po.
Okay.
Hmm.
I have 2 more columns to fill in, so I'll
Sige,
wait.
sige. We'll proceed na lang with the next one. Who is Schoolie? Schoolie, ready na?
Always willing to adapt, miss.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. All right.
I'll
Sige.
I'll just share my screen, right?
Awesome. Okay.
Let me see that. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes. Awesome.
All right.
Oh, there.
Here's the thing that I made. 20 minutes as promised. So let's start with the problem, right? Students have no dedicated public education platform. That means that all the education platforms right now basically constitute kanama like Udemy or Coursera, which kanang students don't go to. For one, because we don't have money. Second, because it's daunting to go to those websites. Second, teachers can't understand educational platforms. This was written incorrectly, sorry. And they're confusing and overwhelming. For example, let's talk about an educational platform kind of like Canvas. Nobody knows how to use it. I don't know how to use it. I've been using it all semester. I haven't opened it. I've opened it like a total of 3 times, right? It's confusing. It's not intuitive. So what's the solution? I was thinking of an online crowdsourced education platform. Crowdsourced in the sense that any teacher or even students can put their kind of educational material kind of on a page and kind of share it to everybody. And the other solution is that the platform lets users both learn and create educational material. So let's say a lecturer wants to put his lecture on kanang Schoolie, which is the name of the kind of startup, just saying, puts a lecture on Schoolie and then puts the other educational platform kanang stuff on Schoolie. Not only does he teach his students, but at the same time, he creates material for Schoolie to then recycle kanang with the other with other learners down the road. How do we go through this, man? Maybe we should go to kanang the unique value proposition. Again, it's curated learning. This is educational material from the teacher and developed by the alongside the students. Kana later, if kana Anna, you can see a demo. Then the high level concept is kind of Netflix for education. The same way that Netflix put video streaming, video like movies online is the same way we want to put education online. Netflix didn't put a bunch of rental movies kanang on a website, then you can rent them. Netflix completely redesigned kanang how it's done by making everything available kanang at the same time. Unfair advantage, I just put kanang an empathetic perspective because I am also a student. I'm a second year student in the University of San Carlos. The channels that we plan to use to show off the product are our website, which is kind of here, there. The App Store, if we do develop an app, I'm currently learning how to do that. Schoolmates, you see what I did there with the spelling, and educators, other educators. Now, the key metrics.
Christian?
I think he got cut.
Yes.
Would be the concurrent users. And then the third would be kanang material quality, because eventually kanang though the people who will keep posting are the people who actually make the most of the platform, which should ultimately converge into higher quality material rather than just random. Okay, the higher quality material will stand out more, man. Let's see, existing alternatives. Again, I already talked about that. Udemy, YouTube, asking notes from a fellow student. Customer segments, quickly run down: student, teachers, self-learners, early adopters, still students, and teachers. Kick, I wrote that down incorrectly. Cost structure, development cost. Well, we have an MVP, man. I built it last month. So I don't know how much it would cost to streamline the product. Next would be video hosting and server cost. Right now, I'm using YouTube as a hosting, but in the future, I'd like to host my own videos and store the lectures and PowerPoints by myself. Revenue streams, I'm unsure about this one, but an interesting idea that came to mind was tips/Patreon model, because I know a lot of teachers like to post their lectures on YouTube. I have a teacher who wanted to be a YouTuber and a teacher. The problem is YouTube has this thing where you need to have like 1,000 subscribers in order to earn money. But what if they had a platform where Patreon model, students who really appreciate certain teachers can just Patreon style bang donations in ba? Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Christian. Thanks for being brave and doing the first run.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good exercise, and in 20 minutes you were able to put everything all together. I guess in terms of the revenue streams, you mentioned kasi that's something that you're still thinking of. Then those are the things that we consult with our later mentors, and these are also things that we will uncover later on throughout the program. So good job on this one. I think you mentioned kanina, how do you go through it? So I would talk about the canvas in the same way that you filled it out. So I would start with the problem, and then you talk about your customers, and then you do your unique value proposition, your solution, and then the unfair advantage about your solution, and then follow with the revenue streams, the costs, and the key metrics. Because of course, key metrics will be a little bit later, because the main focus right now is really more on the problem, your customer, and the solution, and what's unique about you, and what's your unique advantage.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you.
So we'll hear more later. Wow, no,
Yeah.
nice. Congrats.
Good job.
So, so let's proceed with the next one by Aniko. Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. All right, take it away.
Share my screen.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Wait lang.
All right.
Okay. So I hope you can see my screen. Yeah. So let me take you through the customer segments that we've identified first. So there are actually three. First, we have the eco-friendly enthusiasts. Then we have the cooperatives, which normally or in most towns are part of the LGU. And then we have some sellers who would like to take part of being eco warriors. So what exactly is the current problem that we see? So there's currently a lack of sustainable options that we use every day, like soaps, toothbrush, among other things. For the cooperatives, also, there's a lack of a single e-commerce marketplace for them that allows them to feature their local wear. And for sellers, there's really a lack of labor that they can tap to be able to create sustainable products that they also have in mind. So our solution is very simple. We would like to link all of this together, especially market demand and labor availability, all the while taking a look at how we can provide low waste solutions. So uh, Hmm. There are existing alternatives in the market, which is several online eco stores that we do have. And we also have physical stores that are zero waste proponents. So these are also alternatives. We also have, I didn't fill that out, but we also have buy local for local websites, among other things, or Facebook groups, so to speak. So our unique value proposition is actually to be able to provide low waste solutions for job creation and clean waters. We would be able to do this through e-commerce, so that's the direct to consumer part. We'd also like to take part in advocacies either with schools or with companies, and then there's partnership with LGU. Of course, we would also be doing something that Filipinos are very familiar with, which is Facebook and Instagram and Google AdWords. That's for our how we bring them to consumers. Um, our revenue streams currently we've identified affiliate marketing. This is for our makers and our cooperatives. And then we have product sales either from our website directly or through our sellers. And we also have our annual subscription program. Currently, our cost structure, we're only looking at the website domain and hosting ads. A lot of it is on the ground working with the cooperatives to be able to build a relationship with them to bring their products forward. So I think, I'm not so sure, but our unfair advantage that I'm seeing at this time is because we will be working with communities and cooperatives, we will actually have our own advocates who will push their brands and their products in the marketplace for us. So that's it for me.
Awesome. Miss Demi, do you
Great.
wanna go on?
Yeah, I really love this. I love people that are creating platforms, really bridging, bringing together the eco warriors and everything like that. I also have a vested interest because my parents actually have a bee farm. So this is something that's really good for like small, farmers and the businesses that are really pushing for you know doing selling local things and actually reducing waste. So this is good. Like I'm impressed. Like it's very nice. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you so
Right.
much.
All right, sige. Next, we have DLM.
Wait. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Can everyone hear
Yes.
me? Okay,
Yeah.
hi. Okay, let me
Yeah, go
screen share.
Janelle.
Yes. For this time, it'll be Nate who'll be doing the pitch. Wait, the lean canvas. Let
Well,
me share screen.
yeah, but that wouldn't
Yeah.
but that wouldn't mean that you won't be there explaining, so you'll be there with me, co-piloting this.
Yeah. So here, okay. Go for it,
All right.
Nate.
All right. So, hi. Well, unfortunately, I cannot use my cam at the moment, but I do apologize for that. But you'll be. Is everyone able to hear me?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. All right. So, as what we've mentioned before, for us we wanted to create a game that could address the educational side of things, well, mainly, but especially for around this time, our current situation with COVID and all that. So here is our lean canvas. As of this moment, the problems that we uh, yeah, the problems that we've identified as of the moment with Jadil, there are three things that we wanted to address. Like, first one would be the educational access for students in a fun way, and second would be the learning retention, which would technically self-explanatory. Most lessons and most modules and most classrooms do tend to be boring as we go through along with the class. So we wanted to try to make it more fun, and at the same time, remote learning. We wanted to take that learning experience outside just four walls, because even though that we're quarantined by around this time, it doesn't necessarily mean that we won't be able to just stay in one corner. At least we'll be able to make it more mobile, at the same time um, less boring in the side of the students, as well as the side of the teachers as well, that they'll be able to move more and do more while giving their lectures. So existing alternatives though to this that we've identified are video lessons, online classroom, and
Hi,
the
hi
physical
Nate. You have
written
1 minute
modules.
left.
All right, so to wrap everything up in one phrase, basically what we wanted to do is we wanted to create a game that would cater to both the students and the teachers, that it would give the students a reward, at the same time give the teachers a way to grade and monitor their students, that they wouldn't be hassled, and in a sense to also create a good retention policy for the learning experience of the students. And that's it.
All right, thank you so much, Nate. And Janelle, we will discuss more of this later during the fireside chat. All
Yes.
right. Sige. So next we have Lawn Drive.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, clear.
Let me just share my screen.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Lawn Drive, good afternoon, everyone. So hang on, let me just. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so Lawn Drive is an on-demand laundry service mobile application. So basically, we only have one customer, and that is a person or people who are using the laundry service. But we have divided them into three. So number one, young professionals living in Cebu City on their own, uh, ages 23 to 50 years old. Motivation of using a laundry service is convenience. Number two, students living in Cebu City but not really from the metropolis, ages 17 to 22. And motivation is that students opt for a laundry service with the reason that not having time to just wash the clothes. So still convenience. And lastly, young families, a young couple with 1 to 2 kids manage to fit in family time, work time, and leisure. So ages 35 to 50, and motivation is doing laundry is a simple task that takes up a valuable time. So what are the problems here that we are seeing in this laundry service? Number one, missing items, no tracking system, and bringing your laundry to the laundry shop is a simple task, but once again takes up a valuable time. So what is our proposition for that? For the missing items and items going to other customers, we have a QA, we call them laundrep. So these people will QA the laundry items, making sure that there are no stains. Also, the number of items are correct. Number two, the app has a real-time order status, so that means the customers can really see what's going on with with their laundry. And lastly, best in world customer service. So those are our value proposition. Solution. Once again, we have laundry to check the laundry items. We have real-time order status on our
1 minute
app.
left.
And thank you, Miss. And from CEO down to our laundrep will be trained for the best in world customer service. Now let's go to our channels. So for the channels, we have social media, word of mouth, and of course, company merchandise. Next is our revenue. There you go, revenue stream. So how do we monetize this app. Number one, commission from the laundry shop. We have the delivery fee, and then the concierge fee, which is the laundress or the one who QAs the items. Now, cost structure, we have salary, mobile app, website cost, overhead cost, and utility cost. Key metrics, we have number of orders and total kilograms. That's how we check if we have reached our goals. And lastly, for the unfair advantage, we have the operation process or processes, the app itself, and this last one, commission for the laundry shops. So we will be giving commission to the laundry shops actually if they wish to partner with us. So that's basically the leans canvas for laundry. I mean for laundry, sorry.
All right. Thank you very much, Larkins. Miss Timmy, do you want to say anything?
No, I'm good. I think maybe it's great that you identified a lot of problems and you broke up your customer segments. But as Ash recommended, maybe keep your problems to 3, so that your main focus is really like on the yung kanang pinaka painful jud para nila ba. So you have to like prioritize lang para you're not like all over the place. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying it's just the rule of 3.
Yes. Thank you, Miss.
Salamat.
All right. Thank you. So next we have Ansky.
Hi, ma'am. Sharing, please.
All right.
Let me just.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Share screen. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. Share na siya, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, there. Good.
Okay, ma'am. So, good afternoon, Ma'am Timmy. So, for our lean canvas, our problem is commuters are not protected while waiting for public transportation. So, in the typical bus stop, the waiting shelter is open. So, when a bus crashes to the bus stop, it usually crashes the passengers or the commuters. So our solution is to create a fortified waiting shelter that when a bus crashes, it will stop the bus rather than crashes directly to the people. So the existing alternatives we have is like the existing bus stops are built for protection only against the weather. So our key matrix is that a waiting shelter that stops the bus by not more than 1 meter when it crashes. Waiting shelter and if it's already implemented, the waiting shelter shall be used by 2 or more LGUs. As for the unique value proposition, our fortified waiting shelter that stops any crashing bus instantly, thus saving more lives. High-level concept is safety mobility, being that more mobility concepts are on the active mobility or smart mobility, where we would like to focus more on safety mobility. Then for us, unfair advantage, we provide that safety feeling when a bus crashes, the waiting shelter. And then we provide safety, comfortability, and interest to commuters. As for the channels, we sell directly to the government. Then for the customer segments, our customers would be commuters who don't own cars. Then tourists who will use the public transport, and students and elderly people who can't drive. The early adopters will be the highly urbanized cities. That's for the cost structure.
1 minute left.
The construction of the fortified waiting shelter and the installation of sensors. As for our revenue streams, revenue will come from partnership with the LGU. Then we will add out-of-home advertising. And then we have learned that most problems with waiting shelter is that it's neglected after it's being installed by the LGU. So we would have revenue streams from maintenance and repair of waiting shelters. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Anything you want to add, Miss Demi?
No, all good. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead. Timeline. Go, Zion.
Hello? Oh, sorry.
Okay, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So this is our business model canvas. The problem are real estate agents managing multiple transactions have a hard time keeping track of their files. Real estate agents do a lot of repetitive tasks involving paper, which is inefficient. And clients are typically kept in the dark about real estate transaction process unless they ask the agents. So solution, sales management platform that allows real estate agents to easily keep track of their transactions. A platform that helps automate your business process workflow, and a platform that makes the sales process transparent and holds both client and real estate agent accountable for their respective tasks. So what are the existing alternatives? Filing cabinets, folders, how real estate currently manage their files, Google Docs and Google Drive, and email and phone for communication. And our key metrics are the number of timelines and projects created and the number of timelines projects completed or closed. So unique value proposition, allow real estate agents to automate and customize their business process workflows, allow agents to easily communicate with their clients about their transactions, and allow agents to always be on track and on top of their transactions. So what's our unfair advantage? So I have extensive experience in the real estate industry as a transaction coordinator for agents. Our software is customizable for different business process workflows. What channels do we have? So Google search engines, software directories, Facebook groups, partnerships, word of mouth, referrals, powered by or link, or tech. A high-level concept of our product is Asana for realtors or sales. And then our customer segments. Currently, we're focused on real estate agents and brokers, but in the future, hopefully, we'll tap into industries that typically involve long sales processes and with continued back and forth. For example, wedding planners, for government projects to track government program status and expenditure for transparency, agencies and freelancers, sales agents, usually B2B, architects and lawyers. Our early adopters would be top real estate agents who want to be competitive, new agents that want to grow and different themselves from other agents, and tech-inclined real estate agents. So the cost structure is
1 minute left
for development and maintenance, hosting fees and marketing, and revenue stream is subscription fees.
Wow.
That's all.
Nice. Good job. Thank you so much, Zion. Miss Demi, anything you want to add?
Good job. I think on the early adopter side, because parang it's all real estate is everywhere, right? So maybe figure out where, like the area. Like, are you gonna start in Cebu or para murag mas mukuan pa jud imong early adopters, like which top agents are you gonna na asa ilang mga properties maybe.
Thank you, Ma'am Timmy.
Yes, salamat.
All right. Next, we have Kalikasan Camp. Hi, AR.
Hi. My name is Anne. I'll be representing Kalikasan Camp for today.
Okay.
Let me just share my screen for a while. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, let me start. Our problems, the problems you have listed are the following. Absence or lack of platform for nature-centered businesses to manage their business and market their products, properties and services in a systematic way. Although there are a lot of properties who already have their own booking system, but most of them don't have yet. Another is lack of marketing efforts for camping grounds and natural tourist sites. They only rely on posts in the internet about their sites and properties. And lastly, lack of private organizations or businesses that advocate for nature and conservation. So most of the businesses that we know are just centered on capitalism, on profit. So not really a lot about campaigning for nature. So our solutions are the following: create an online booking platform for private landowners and campground owners that can help their business be more visible to campers and the general public. Offer marketing services to hosts that will sign with this online booking platform. And last, create a company that is centered towards helping in nature conservation while doing business and helping other business owners. So some existing alternatives that we have listed are the following. Businesses are maximizing the use of social media to market their business. That is Facebook, Instagram, etc. Most businesses seek the help of social media influencers or vloggers to drive sales. And lastly, privately owned businesses have their own corporate social responsibility projects. Our unique value propositions, though, are the following: booking platform for outdoors or campers, enhanced marketing for hosts, additional monetization for private landowners, and year-round listing support for private landowners. So we basically aim to be a one-stop shop for all these private landowners who would like to connect their businesses with
1 minute
the
left.
target market. Unfair advantage, network of hosts, customer segments, millennial campers, hosts, just like farms, private landowners, public campgrounds, conservation camps, etc. We have early adopters. Our ideal target market are adventurous, responsible, disciplined, passionate about nature, conscious about environment, and people who love to socialize. Channels that we have thought of: social media, word of mouth, website, business partners, newsletters. High-level concept: Airbnb for outdoor camping, basically. And key metrics: increased number of business successful bookings, increased number of hosts who sign up with the platform, increased number of employees in the business, and cost structure: website maintenance and hosting costs, salary, insurance, marketing, operational costs. And lastly, revenue streams: we have partner fees, booking fees, and sponsorships. That will be all for Talitas and Cap. Thank you.
Thank you, and Miss Timmy, good job, by the way.
Yeah, good job. Camping is definitely like a niche thing, and I think you might also want to look at, cunning corporate stuff, like eventually, after all of this pandemic thing. But kanang kami, we do camping for yeah, for kanang summer stuff ba, or like when the whole team comes together. So that's a niche you also want to look into. The business market is quite big. But
all right,
yeah.
Thank you. And we next we have I'll call in Tip Z.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Let me share my screen. Okay, makita ra.
Yes.
So, okay. Good afternoon. Let me present our lean canvas for TIPSG. So the problem that we see is the need for instant answers to burning questions, reliable and real-time information, the need to connect with the right people that understands your queries. So the solution currently right now is people are doing Google search for their question or Quora, and others are posting in their social media, Facebook, they call it crowdsourcing. So the solution is an on-demand mobile platform that matches a user's question or request of information to someone who is eligible to answer and provide it in real time. So we are basically a two-sided platform. In the app, we have the tippers who post questions and the tipsters who answers it. So controls are in place in the platform. So write tipster recommendation, and tipsters earn while helping the tippers. Next is the customer segments. We are in a consumer tech. We have the tippers, and also the users who wants extra income, which is the tipsters. Our early adopters are working millennials that lives in Cebu City that are using platform with a twist of being on demand. So revenue streams, hopefully a transaction charge and keyword-based ads the future uniform effect is achieved. So with a twist of being structure, software developmental revenue streams, hopefully a transaction charge. So the key metrics, number of users acquired, number of transactions per uniform effect is achieved. So with a twist.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Tipsy. All right. Miss Timmy, do you want to add anything?
No, nothing to add. I love the Quora meets Grab
Yes.
high level concept.
Yeah, and the
Sige.
burning questions part of it.
Yeah.
All right. Sige, we'll talk more later, Mars. Okay. Last but not the least, Lifeline.
Yes, Miss Joy, may I share my screen, please?
Of course, yes.
I cannot share my screen while other participant is sharing. That's what it
Oh,
says.
Wait. Sorry. How can I?
Um,
Can I stop this?
yes, stop screen.
Is my
Go to
background
the
noisy,
Zoom
Miss
panel.
Joy?
No, okay lang man, sir. No problem. Go to the Zoom panel, sir.
Okay. Sorry.
Sir Chris.
Sa Zoom, nana siya sa upper sir. Kay naka-screen share man ka nana sa upper imong
Stop
mouse
share.
ibutang sa taas.
Dali.
No. I-manual na lang, Sir Chris.
Unsa man ni ang iyaha.
Tara, stop share. Okay, sorry guys.
Okay, sige.
So, good afternoon. The problem where Lifeline is trying to solve is the problem of people whose loved ones have mental health issues, and they find the traditional treatment options very expensive, and the result is unreliable. Indirectly, it's also trying to solve the problem of those mental health treatment professionals whose patients continuously relapse. Our solution is affordable treatment, digitized rehab systems or the TARP. Higher, we will provide higher success rate because of the tech that we are using. And of course, our assessment and diagnostics will be immersive. Our unique value proposition is it's like we are the Uber for mental health. Instead of calling somebody to drive you somewhere, this one will drive you sane. Unfair advantage, digitized intake system, immersive assessment and diagnostics, tech-assisted rehab and protection protocols, continuous aftercare subscription because we can monitor them through our hardware, and of course, assessment and treatment of co-occurring disorders like bipolar disorder and all that. Um, our the existing alternatives before Lifeline enters the market are the traditional rehabs and of course the partial mental health apps that we can download. Cost structure, product dev cost, manufacturing cost,
Traditional
operations
rehabs,
cost,
and of course
administrative, the
the
usual
partial
suspects.
mental.
Metrics. We want Lifeline Tech to be used by at least 20% of mental health patients on its 12-month of operation, prescribed by 20% of mental health professionals on the 12th month. There should be daily online sales of 5,000 units, 500K free subscription, and 100K
1
premium
minute
paid app,
left.
and others. High level, the channels would be website, app, physical online stores, mental health professionals, and partnership with mental health. Revenue streams, retail and wholesale revenues, premium subscriptions, advertisement, counseling, and treatment commission. Our early adopters will be private rehabilitation facilities of Visayas, Cebu government CBRPs, psychiatrists and psychologists of Cebu, Cebu schools guidance offices, local government units, and wives who want to track their husband's whereabouts and mental condition. Thank you.
All right. Wow, the last bit got me. Thank you so much, Sir Ray. Miss Timmy, do you want to add anything? Timmy?
No, I think we're good.
All right,
That
sige.
yeah. All right. Thank you everyone. Thank you Joy for like really facilitating that. That was amazing. So, I mean, I commend you all for being able to really encapsulate your business in 20, 30 minutes into a one pager. So I think that was a mind boggling, parang, which problem do you pick? Where do you start? And I commend you guys for really like being able to condense that. So let's just breeze through a little bit na lang yun, because I know that we have to end shortly. So just to kind of synthesize what we went through, allow me to just share my screen. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Yeah, okay. So this is the statement from the book that I shared with you guys earlier, from the writer, like literally from the guy talking during your video. Yeah, okay. So that the riskiest part of the canvas and the jumping off point for everything is really the problem portion. And like, here's some food for thought. I love peanuts so much, and I would like that you guys just go through the this comic. All right, and here is another favorite quote I have. And it's, customers don't really care about your solutions, they really only care about their problems. So my question for you is, how much of your problem statements, I saw that you guys already listed 3 to 5 things on your problem areas. So how much of those problem statements have really been validated? And by validated, I mean, someone actually verbally told you that this is a problem for them that was worth solving. How do you get this information? The easiest survey and the thing that we default to usually is really surveys, but I highly discourage this medium just because, they're a little bit closed-ended and they can be limiting. And more so, you can actually guide the conversation a certain way to favor what you're creating. So there's likely that you'll get a false, like, positive or a negative. Thus, you actually have to do customer interviews. And sometimes to some people, that's kind of icky, it's kind of iffy, talking to people. But unfortunately, this is really the way that it has to go. And, I made it kanang video call because it's updated to current social distancing constraints. But, this is a thing that we call problem interviews or customer discovery. So this is something that you really need to get done to be able to crystallize your problem portion of your lean canvas. How do you do problem interviews? There's actually like a really good video that can walk you through how to create your problem interview script. And I think we will just wrap up everything through this last video. So Christian did a really good job of like sharing the video last time. So Christian, do you wanna play the video for us to go through together?
It's okay. Wait, ma'am. Shifting.
Hey, next attendees, I'm Justin Wilcox. I'm the founder of Nimbus Health, a software company where we help hospitals automate medical record processing. Now, that's what I do for work, but what I do for fun is actually Customer Dev Labs. It's a blog where I and other founders take our customer development experiences and we write them up and share them so that other people don't fall into the same traps that we did getting started. So, if you like what we talk about today, definitely go check out the blog. Speaking of which, what we're talking about today is 4 customer discovery hacks. These are the 4 things that I found hardest to get started with customer development. All right, now that we've got our interview set up, we need to figure out what are we going to ask our customers. And this is something that I really struggled with when I started customer development. So that's why we have hack number 3, what to ask. So a couple ground rules for interviewing. Number 1, no pitching. This is about listening. If you find yourself ever proposing a part of your solution just to get some feedback on it, stop. You're pitching, and we don't want to do that. The reason being, as soon as you start pitching, your mind changes gears. It goes from learning and absorbing information into trying to pitch something and sell a product. And this time is all about learning. So this is all about listening to your customer, all about listening to their problems. You'll have plenty of time to pitch later. Okay, rule number 2. Past and present questions are fantastic. That's what we're going to ask. Questions about the future, like would you ever or will you ever, hypothetical questions, those are no good. We want to ask questions like, have you ever? Or tell me about the last time. Things that have happened in the past and are in the present. Now the reason is, if we ask about future questions, we're getting our customers' predictions, and those are basically useless. And in fact, they can be worse than useless, because if they tell us something that we want to hear, would you ever pay $5 for blah, 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 and they say yes, we might mislead ourselves into thinking we have a real product. The truth is they don't know the answer to that question, and it's going to be misleading. So we don't do it. The other reason is, as soon as you're asking would you or will you questions, you're probably starting to pitch a solution, and we don't want to do that. Okay, so with those ground rules in place, let's talk about what you ask your customers. The script that I use looks a little something like this. Number 1, tell me a story about the last time problem context. So for example, tell me about the last time you were late to an appointment. Now the reason why we ask this question first is because it's very open-ended. It's asking for a story, and it's asking our customer to sort of go on whatever tangents they want. And what we're looking for here are things that are particularly difficult or annoying for our customer. So your job is to ask this question, listen intently, and then dig in. When you find your customer talk about something that's interesting to you, that you don't know about or you don't fully understand, dig in, ask questions. Why was that hard? What was annoying about that? Why is that way? This is where you're going to spend most of your time. Now, if during this conversation it's not obvious to you what was the hardest part about this context, you're going to ask them explicitly, what was the hardest part about this problem that you ran into? Then they're going to tell you the hardest part, and this is exactly what we want. And now this question, number 3, this is golden. It's also very awkward. You're going to ask them, why was that hard? Let me give you an example of why it's going to be awkward. So, tell me about the last time you were late. Oh, I had to feed the dog, and I had to pick up my keys, and I couldn't find them, and then I ran into traffic. What was the hardest part about it? The traffic was so annoying. It was frustrating. And then I'm going to ask, why was that hard? And they're going to think, of course, I know why that's hard. It's hard because it was frustrating. And we're going to ask them, and they're going to say, you know why it was hard? Because I had to drive across a bridge, and I was afraid I was going to run out of gas, and I was stuck in traffic. And we ask because the why is exactly what we're going to parrot back to our customers when it's time to go pitch our solution. We want to use our customers' own words when we market to them so that we know it will resonate. So in this case, why was it hard? Afraid to run out of gas? We can say, afraid to run out of gas because you're running late. That might be the best marketing message. So this is really important. Even if it's awkward to ask, make sure you understand why this was particularly hard. Number 4, we're going to ask, how do you solve this problem now? So I might ask, how do you solve this lateness problem now? They might say, I just am not late at all. I just don't care. I don't do anything. In that case, we know this isn't a real pain for our customer because they're not trying to solve the problem. If they are trying to solve the problem, I set my clocks forward fast, and I try and get reminders from Google and blah, blah, blah. Then we can ask the next question, which is, why is that solution not awesome? If they say, oh, you know what? I know the clocks are set fast, and I just ignore the reminders. We've got a problem they're trying to solve, so it's a real problem, and their solution is not awesome. So maybe we can solve it in a better way. All right, so this is the outline for your interview. These are the basics. Bonus points, though, if you can do any of these 3 things. Number 1, emotions. Take real note of the emotions your customer expresses during the interview. Frustration, anger, guilt, greed, happiness, whatever it is, note those down, because those emotions, that's how you're going to connect with your customer. When you can empathize with your customer, they can feel that, and that's how we're going to actually move our solution. Number 2, three-peat. Once you get through this process, you can start all the way over at the beginning. Tell me about another time you were late. If you can get through this process 3 times, you'll learn something new every time, and you'll really understand your customer through and through. Finally, 5 whys. If you can ask why 5 times, why was that hard? Why did you do it that way? Why is the world like it is? You will understand the core crux of why someone is doing what they're doing and why it's difficult. If you ask 5 times, you'll get down to the core emotion and the core motivation of what it is that they're trying to solve. All right, so that's my script, and now it's your turn. Go ahead and write your version of this script, and then go to a neighbor and interview him or her. When you do, make sure you're not pitching and that you're always asking questions about the past and the present and never about the future. Good luck. So all this information is documented up on customerdevlabs.com. Go check it out. I'm Justin Wilcox. Let me know what you learned.
All right. Thank you very much, Sir Chris, for playing that video for us. Miss Timmy, do you want to say anything?
So yeah, so essentially in that past video, like to further break down and relate what he just discussed, each question or each type of question helps you validate a certain portion of your lean canvas. Namely, it helps you validate the problem hypothesis. It helps you really like structure your unique value proposition. It helps you learn about how people are solving stuff through existing alternatives. And it really helps you solidify your solution hypothesis, as in like, how do you build your solution? What goes into your solution? So if I were to superimpose what he just said onto the lean canvas, I would say that each question would be mapped out like this. It is what this would look like. So question number 1 would help you with this, and question number 3 would help here, and 5 and 4 and so forth. Don't worry, I will definitely share these slides. We will definitely upload these so you can actually go back to this like when you're starting to create it already. So here is actually a sample of a of a problem interview script that I personally had to use. So because this is really something that because we worked on a validation project with a big company called Bosch, and we had to actually run this script by 50 workshops. And the assumptions that we had before on what their challenges were, like say for example with stocks, were actually completely changed after the 50 conversations we had. And that's to say that sometimes what you assume is really the problem at first isn't really the problem. So you really need to do the problem interviews for this. So, and when you do your interviews, like please really listen. I saw Joy share this on her wall, like something about the 7 habits of highly effective people. And there's a habit there, and it's called habit number 5. And it really resounds. You have to seek first to understand and then be understood. So please listen, not to reply, not to pitch, but to really understand. And I love that this article wonderfully summarizes it. I shared it on the chat group. Also, like there's this really beautiful video for me that also complements like what habit 5 says, and it's how to be a good listener. And it really says like, communication is only 10% words, and the rest is really like understanding emotions and body language. So I love this video. I shared also the link on our chat thread. So I guess your assignment for the next week is really to create your problem interview, and then you interview 10 of your identified early adopters. Because when you do your problem interviews and you validate your problem statements, then you tally them and you see unsa may nagbalik-balik ani, and then you tweak your business and your plan accordingly. Then you tweak your lean canvas accordingly. So joke lang yung 5 minutes. I mean, my point is that you really have to do this, and the critical number or the minimum number is really 10. Because if you talk to anything under than that, you might get like a false reading. So I do not have the answers to all your questions. As you saw, I actually did play a lot of videos, and I think it's really important to just really harp on already set and already established patterns. These are things that I've actually personally done, but I hope that these have actually brought clarity to where you are in your business, and would really shed light on the riskiest parts that you need to address prior to launching your business. Because a few of these risks will definitely be addressed in the later session, but your lean canvas actually tells you like, okay, asa pa man ang risky here. And I hope that the things you discover with these tools will actually change your pitch. I don't expect it this afternoon, but maybe for the next pitch. So I think that's it for me. Starting a business in this pandemic is definitely brave and very inspiring. And the odds have changed. The market has shifted. And but we're here rooting for you. This program is here because we are rooting for you. And I'll just leave it at that with a quote from Charles Darwin that it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives, but it's really the ones that are most adaptable to change. So with that, daghang salamat. I think I'm done.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Timmy. Wow, that was a good session. I learned so much, even if I'm not a mentee, no? But like it's nice to keep on, hearing all the things about validation, about what's really important, what's the most worthwhile problem, right? Thank you so much. All right, so let's proceed to our next what do you call this segment. We will be inviting. We've already invited awesome entrepreneurs to join us during the panel discussion. So I'll call them one by one, and then please turn on your camera and your microphone. So joining us this afternoon, we have the president of Sugbu Mercado. He's also the creator of the very famous food group in Facebook. For Cebu, Let's Eat By. We have Mr. JP Chiongbian. Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Hi.
Hi, good afternoon. Yes.
Hi, good
afternoon,
afternoon.
everyone. Yeah.
Hi. It's nice to finally have you on and pick your brain when it comes to developing the business this afternoon.
Please do so.
Awesome. Yeah, we're all looking forward to it. Thank you so much for joining us. And so next is we have Miss Karla Legaspi of QBO Philippines. Hi, Miss Karla. Kumusta?
Hi po. Hello, Cebu. How has everybody been? I've been listening into the Lean Canvas. My notes na nga din ako.
Di ba?
Great to hear and great to hear about all the new projects that the Cebu founders are working on.
Yes, it's really so awesome actually. And Miss Carla, she also teaches, right? You also teach the Lean Business Canvas. I can remember you went here sa Cebu last year, no? To do a startup basics boot camp. Here in the company and another one in Dumaguete, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and the rest of the Philippines also. So we have so many questions for you, for JP and Timmy. And last but not the least, we have someone joining our panel, Miss Grace Granlund. She's also one of our OGs. Miss Grace, she's usually in the real estate industry, and then she also made her own app, which is GetMore PH. And right now, she's focusing on publishing her own books. Hi, Miss Grace. How are you? Good afternoon.
Hi guys. You would have to forgive my video because my internet keep dropping. I'm now using my mobile phone. I don't know what it was. And also, as I told Joy earlier, I woke up late. I don't look too pretty. So just be happy with my photo if you can. But anyway, I'm so glad to be here. Just ready and willing to answer questions if I can. Yes, as Joy said, I am in the property tech sort of field, and our apps are used by the big ones like Ayala, and kaya lang it's because it's white labeled, it's carried under the brand, so you probably have not heard of our system. And as she said, I've published a book. It's a fantasy novel actually. It's gonna be turned into a Japanese film, but yes, not a Japanese film. It's a film, but it's produced by a Japanese company, and the Netflix series. So medyo happy tayo dyan. Yeah,
all right.
It's about aswangs, by the way. But yeah, So yeah, that's anyway.
Almost na
Okay.
yung October 30. Anyway, thank you so much, Miss Grace. All right, so let's start. Actually, one of the questions that we received earlier, no, is about validating an idea. So the question goes, what are the best practices when it comes to validating an idea? So this is really based on your experience. So let's start with Miss Timmy, and then we'll go with JP, and then Karla, and then Grace. All right.
I think the first step really in validating is, like, um, that's you do your problem interviews. Like, that's the very first thing. You have to like get out of the building and talk to your, okay, figuratively get out of the building and actually talk to your customers or your potential customers, because there's this interesting quote I also love. It's like, no business plan survives first contact with the customer. So all of your assumptions are going to go out the door at the, you know it's gonna change unless you, if and when and as you talk to your customers. So I think that is for me the first step you ever have to take, because there's so much wastage of, like, time, effort, and talent into building a product that isn't really even what your customer really wanted. So it's not solving a problem for them. So I think that's where you start, and then I hope that the guides that I gave, and I'm happy to give more if needed, would really like help you um crystallize that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Go ahead, Sir JP. What are the best practices when it comes to validating an idea?
Well, the best practices really is like believing first in your idea. You have to believe in your idea and then go from there. Um, you it might not be a straight road. You'll eventually always end up in crossroads, but it will eventually lead you to your end goal. So trust the process and believe in the process.
All right. Miss Carla?
Sa akin naman, I have to agree with the first two, so Timmy and Sir JP, no? It's really about talking to customers. Really, the customer discovery interview should be the very beginning, because parang when you start, it's all assumptions in your head. And when you don't talk to the customers or to your potential users, all your efforts will be built on assumptions that might or might not succeed. So we want higher success rate. So we want those insights to be coming from them. So yes, customer interviews, but parang additional 2 points, I guess, that we also recommend to some of the earlier stage founders now is also making use of social media and getting awareness of that idea and of that solution out there and talking to them there. If it's not phone calls and phone interviews, it might be setting up your Facebook page and saying, do you this problem is happening, who else is experiencing them, what are the things that are happening in this industry, and you have social media is where the masses are right now. We're all online, so make use of that. And maybe if you can, and I think I saw on the list that some of you already have prototypes, get those to the hands of the users and just make them use it and get insights from there as soon as possible, because getting that in their hands and having them use it in the most simplest form will get you direct insight in the upfront, so that you can change it as efficiently along the way. So that's my take on it.
That's true po. One question, follow-up question po, based on what you said. So once they get the product now to their customer, or to their target client, how do they monitor the usage? How do they make sure that they record, etc.?
So it's in different things. So sakto kasi we just also wrapped up our validation module. So medyo fresh pa din with our in my mind. But it depends
Awesome.
on which channel you use now. So if you use for example a one-page website, a landing page, there are metrics that you can set up in the background just to see for example who visits the websites, where are they from, so the demographics, are they all in Cebu City, what age they are. So you have to set up the analytics and the metrics if it is a website or a landing page. If it's a prototype or an app mismo, just seeing who the signups are, if you can talk to them, so have credentials and have channels for you to talk to them, and then see what features they typically or mostly use in your product. So if they are, for example, it's a for the schooly one, diba? They're picking up a very specific lecture or a very specific quiz sort of feature, then you know that that's very helpful for them. So make sure to see which features are helpful and which ones they click most. Um, if it's mano mano, if you're trying to do it like a platform where you connect, so always see who are interested, what kinds of business and what kind of customers are going into the platform. So it sort of depends what channels it is, but always have those insights. List everything if you can. One star
That's true
everything,
talaga.
and then like filter from there what will be relevant and what you can build on with the features step by step, I guess.
That is true. And if I may, I would also like to add, this part of the validation process, this will also help you structure your pricing, and this will also help you structure your funnel. So the funnel, it will be discussed during your marketing session. But basically, how people interact with your app or with your product will also give you an idea on what are your anong tawag nito, opportunities. Anong i-add mo na feature that can help them pay more or utilize more. So just pay attention to how they're really using the application. Get a lot of data as much as possible, as much as possible and as much as you can, and really study that, because that will really help you in optimizing the conversions later on once you start marketing and selling your product. So, all right. Thank you, Miss. Yes, go on. Yeah. Yes,
When we
yes.
say it's lean, we say you should be offering what the customers are asking for or what's helpful for them. So that avoids the extra stuff that you need to build, spend time on, spend money on. Na parang in your mind, assumed in the first I guess versions of it na parang oh helpful. But it wasn't. So it already took time, it already took money, it already took everything. So
That's true. The roll
data
up
is
is also very important, no? Like you don't have to put out all the features at once, like all the potential good features of your app. Just one by one and see how easy or seamless the experience will be for your users. So once they're ready, diba, like Facebook, before it was so the interface of Facebook before was so elementary, but right now it's so very very advanced. So probably take notes then as to how they rolled out their features. So yeah, thank you so much. Miss Grace, hi. How do you
Hi, Joy.
yes.
Okay. Well, this is based on my experience, and I'm basing it on the fact that we built a platform or an app for real estate sales, and that is my background, real estate sales. So I could very sort of a certain advantage to having domain expertise. But when you do field tests, this is what I learned when I did that. Because we based our features, the basic features that we design, based on my input as a salesperson. And it's very, originally, we envisioned it to be a one-stop shop for a sales, like for selling. And we wanted to sell it to the real estate developers. And we wanted to be like everything in it. And very, very clearly, when I brought it to the first client, it was very clear that putting the accounting portion was not the best way to do it, because they already have an accounting system and it cost them millions. So which means that there's a resistance there. And that helped because I realized this one-stop shop idea wasn't going to work, because I'm hitting against a brick wall of a very well-established habit na siya. It's very hard to make people change their habit because it takes them so long to learn it. It's harder to unlearn it. It's less the cost, but it's more the adaptation of the platform. So that's lesson number one. Another lesson I learned is that while I can say that I'm a very good salesperson, my sales process is completely different from others. So how I want or how I wanted them to use the app is not sometimes, not more than often, does not jive with how they actually function right now without an app. So parang you have to learn their manual process and in essence design your software where it doesn't deviate too much from their it just makes it easier for them. That's the parang key to adoption eh. Kasi real estate salespeople, unfortunately, the best real estate salespeople are the mature ones, which are less techy. They're more manual. They hire secretaries and so on and so forth. If they're really very good at what they do, they have their own secretaries to do everything. They just sell. And yet they're the ones you want using your system. So what I learned in this when you're trying to validate it is you literally have to micro segmentize its user. I'm not saying you're gonna serve them all, but you gotta actually listen to each and every one and see what deviates from each other. And then you'll be able to see ano yung common ground. And maybe you can then you'll base your design on that common ground first. Because the rest will kind of follow later on kasi gaya-gaya naman eh. Some people, like every real estate developer follows Ayala model simply because they're the most successful, they're the most known. Any new real estate development company, I don't care how small, how big they are, especially the big ones funded by foreign money, the first thing they would do is pirate Ayala salespeople because their model works. And so that's what I'm saying. So if the first, parang the more you really need to understand ano yung pain points of your users, and I have the domain expertise and I had to learn that my pain point is completely different from others. And it was like, it frustrated me in the beginning. Why don't you do it like this? Simply because they don't do it like that. And that is something that would smack you in the face over and over and over again. Like you would see salespeople who harp so much on leads, and yet they waste so much leads because they don't know how to fucking follow up. They don't know how to maintain the bloody leads they already have because they use notebooks, which this is crazy. I mean, it should be common sense, but the point is they don't work the way you do. And this you need to validate. And that's very crucial because we wasted so much, literally millions of pesos learning these things. Masakit siya sa bulsa, mga kaibigan. So, so you gotta learn how to do this. And if you are bootstrapping, saan ka kukuha ng milyon na na-aaksayahin mo? So literally, tama, Timmy was right. You gotta start from, it's the most painful thing to do, lalo na if the founders are shy. They don't have any sales gene in their system. They don't know anybody. They are like too shy, but you have to do it. Literally go to the users, find those users. It's easy to find them in social media. You gotta have them use it. And ito pa yung napansin ko. Kahit anong flowery words ilagay mo sa social media, so you invite them to use your system, kailangan mo silang bigyan ng reward system. Otherwise, nobody you've been advertising in fucking Facebook forever. Nobody's taking you up on it. And you think, is it my verbiage? Is it how I say it? Well, no, but the moment we say, the best answer will win a GoPro camera, boom. As in, okay, that involves cost, but sometimes it's worth it rather than wasting time. Sometimes it doesn't have to be an iPhone. It can be something else. But you gotta give them something, and then they use it. Parang what's in it for us? Hindi makukuha sa, it's for the benefit of mankind. Hindi siya makukuha, promise. It has to be a short-term reward thing. that is what I learned. So yeah, that's basically.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Grace. Wow, ang dami ang dami nating nakuhang insight with that one question, no? So like when it comes to validation, then I'll just, a little bit summarize it. So really talk to your customers. Do not assume anything. Just learn about their process, their habits, even their psychology, right? So that you will know how to make your product. You know how to develop your product, and you also know how to develop your business as a whole. So, last session, we talked about developing the organization, and a lot about developing the organization is focusing on the people that are working with you, right? For developing the business naman, it's about focusing on the people that you will be servicing, no, with your business. So it's really that. So the next question po will be about and this will be the last question before we proceed to the fireside chat, which will be super just exclusive for our mentees. So the last question would be about, so in your field of expertise, for JP, for Miss Grace, for Miss Karla, for Miss Timmy, you've been, good people, good business people, mentoring entrepreneurs, even, right? For you, in developing a business, what is the most important? What are the most important factors that one should really consider and watch out for, and that would ultimately lead to the success of one's business. So again, in developing the business or in developing any type of business, what are the factors that one should look out for that would ultimately lead to the business's success? All right, sige. Let's start at the very beginning. Sige, si Miss Timmy. Kakanta sige. Kakanta na ako later.
So I guess there's a lot of factors, and as you progress, especially if you're still in the ideation stage and you're still in the prototyping stage, the challenges will definitely just escalate from there. There's a multiplier, they say, which is like every time you triple, the problems become different. So right now, as a founding team, your set of challenges are really like getting it out there and launching it. And really, please listen to everything that the mentors say, everything that they said previously, all of the mentors. It was really helpful, and everything else that you're going to learn in the program, because you're going to need all of that. So there's no one, I'm not going to box it into one answer, but I again going to repeatedly say that please validate before you build anything. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I've been in a project na there was zero validation and they wasted millions of pesos because they really weren't solving a problem that was the customer thought was worth paying for. So I'm just gonna keep mura ko sirang plaka, but I'm just gonna keep hammering down on the fact that please validate before you build anything. I know as engineers, like our instinct is to like I know, let me build that. I'm gonna make that prototype for that. I'm gonna make my React app and I can like solve it but before you even jump into engineering mode, please jump into the psychological mode and like say, what is this? Like, what is the problem? What is the problem I am solving? So I'm just gonna go back to that actually.
Which is really super true, Miss Timmy, which also means, no matter what you do, you should always understand the people that you're trying to serve or the people that you're trying to help. And at the end of the day, sales is sales, and people buy from people that they like, and especially when it's a problem that they're really facing. So, all right, thank you, Miss Timmy. Next, Sir JP.
Yes, good afternoon again. I think for every concept that anyone has, there's always a market. It'd be a niche market or a mass market. There will always be a market. So always believe, as I said earlier, always know your product or know your concept, believe in your concept, and always attain those goals. So just like us, like when we started Sugbo Mercado, our plan was really to provide a venue for startup entrepreneurs. During the time, there are only like a weekend, holiday bazaars, like during Christmas, or like short-term bazaars, like just for a month. So we did an all-year-round food market. We started out as a weekend food market as a venue, and then later we realized like most of the startups had to be guided. Hence, we made a lot of ground rules and all that. And moving forward, we became a full incubator. By becoming a full incubator, also when things were more organized, like in our second or third year, we became socially conscious with the environment, hence implementing our social responsibility of reducing our plastic wastage. No? So we eliminated like plastic utensils, straws, packaging, and all that. And then moving forward, we created an acceleration program in where like since we're an incubator, a venue where you incubate and hopefully brand your product and get out of there and make your own physical store, either in a mall or your own physical setup. So we made this acceleration program because if you don't get out of the market, then we're not creating any brands. But hence came the pandemic. And when the pandemic happened, I'm just paraphrasing everything now. So when the pandemic happened, I had this Facebook page called Let's Eat By, when it was only a page where foodies would share the food experiences in restaurants and all that. But the end goal of that was really to create something like a Michelin star guide, where we'd re-critique each restaurant for the good of each restaurant, also for their service, and uplift the services of each of these institutional or startup restaurants in Cebu. But when the pandemic happened, we shifted that right away on March 16 to an e-commerce. Hence, we were one of the first ones to pioneer e-commerce during the pandemic through Let's Eat By. From then on, also, the fastest way we could help Cebu was make an online food directory, or so call it an OFD. But this directory, as we all know it, would take so much time to close a transaction or to realize a transaction. So in March also, when I made that OFD, I said the fastest way was really to make an app. But to make an app would take, of course, especially during a pandemic, 8 months to a year, like 6 months at least a year to make an app, a full service app. We made this in 5 months. So everything, I'll stop there. Everything we did was we grew organically. But by growing organically, just as like Karla and Timmy said, like you should know your market, and once you know your market, you will know what they need. So you should start with the right foundation, as I said, knowing your product, and start it from there. Like you don't have to put all your bullets or ammunition all at once. You grow it phase by phase. So the first phase is always start up your foundation, which you are all doing right now. This is your foundation. And when you open the doors, and you open your business, then you'll know what your market needs and what it desires, and you build it from there. One of the points on a approach is like grow things organically. But when you grow things organically, you also have to retain that certain goal or that main goal that you have, and don't veer away from that. You'll always encounter, there will always be problems, but it's not a problem to me. I consider problems like learning curves. So it's good to encounter these, because these learning curves is what makes your concept much better, especially when you have relationships with your customers or a focus group. Then you know how to approach or resolve these problems and make it better for everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. JP. I want to know more about the entrepreneurs, rather, the food entrepreneurs that you have incubated and helped, these past years. For them, what were their usual good good practices, especially for the more successful ones when they were developing their business?
Well, when we started Supermercado, basically everyone was a startup. I mean, like majority of, like 90% were startups. Like to the simple fact, like uh, when the rental when we'd accept rental payments, we were accepting rental payments on the first months, like daily or weekly or monthly. Then I said, this can't be. Our internal organization would be messed up. So I said, we have to you have to issue us checks or PDCs. That's how we have them. We told them, like, just issue us weekly PDCs or bi-monthly. And then I realized, like, none of them or most of them never had a checking account. So I talked to the banks. I talked to most of the banks, or our banks or corporate banks. I said if they can lower the opening rate instead of 10,000 to 5,000, but I'd give them 100 new accounts. So they did. So by having already had that notion, I said, like, we really have to guide them. So meaning we really held each of their hands from even our one of our guidances, like to get a special permit from the city, to get a permit from the city health. So all these I had to meet with the different LGUs and different agencies to help resolve and to help grow these startup entrepreneurs. Because what I noticed also, no, the entrepreneurial spirit of Cebuanos were gone in the past, let's say, more than a decade or so, no, with the emergence of the emergence of BPOs or other big industries or other multinational industries, no. So we wanted to restart the entrepreneurial spirit of the Cebuanos. But by doing so, as Carla mentioned also, and Miss Grace and Timmy, like, everyone got short-sighted. No one really knew how to start from the beginning as an entrepreneur by simply getting your business permit. So, so we had to guide them in each of these steps and processes. So, hence I said, like before in my talk earlier, um, we're really a full incubator from the beginning of starting of getting your business permits to growing your business, to marketing, to simply having a social media account and by posting all the time. So, yeah, so by doing so and by applying these rules, of course, we had some backlashes, no, like, ha, kapuya ni oy. Like, but these kapuy things, I said, like, these are just the basic things that you really need. But later on, because naanad naman sila animan, they were so used to having all these shortcuts of not doing it maybe the legal way or the the basic foundation of any business. Later on, I said, like, we're just applying what malls would tell you to would require from you, so that if you do open in any major mall or open your own physical store, it would be much easier. So what happened later on when most of our food entrepreneurs graduated from our markets and open up in the major malls, we always had contact with them. It was so much easier. In fact, like it was like really nothing for them to open up in any major mall by following all these guidelines that we had. So these are the success stories. The success stories, like so a lot of people like who who were employees before, when they started with us, became their own bosses. They're making so much. They were generating a lot of revenues that could sustain or more than sustain their dreams. No, so
All
those
right.
were
So really, it really helped, no, for the entrepreneurs that you mentored to have someone to help them, no, along the way and to
oh
tell them, ano, yung steps. But for our mentees this afternoon, it's really important also for them. Going back to what you guys mentioned earlier, it's really to really understand who your market is and test your product, and as what you said, JP, to really believe in your idea also. All right. Thank you so much. Um, Miss Carla.
Sa akin, we can't say this enough. TV and Sir JP has also articulated this, but validate, 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 just understanding the customers. And from what Sir JP said, then the building blocks of a business. This is the startup space is something new. It's the sexy thing to do. You're making cool things, but behind it is a viable business and a business team. So make sure that you think about those things, diba? At the end of the day, after you build that product, you should have someone doing accounting. You should have someone marketing, diba? Someone talking to people, someone delivering that value, doing maintenance, and all of these things that you need to think about. So parang sometimes the founders get caught up in the innovation stage of all of this and then sort of have that in the side. But really, this is still a business, and you really need to think about the moving parts of how to make this viable. And then from there, also what we always say and what we always look at Kubo is really the team, the founder, and his motivations or her motivations and foundation, and also the skills needed. No, so if you're starting as a solo founder, this is your expertise. There are a lot of other aspects in the business that might not be your expertise. So building from there, finding mentors to help you with the areas that you don't grasp strongly, or building that team to support you will help you really succeed, and I guess lighten the load, because it's hard to be an entrepreneur tapos pag solo pa with all of these unknowns, diba? So we really also look at the strong team and their background. So if you have complete skills that support you to have to have more chances of success to move that forward and scale. It's a community then. So it's nice to have the Startup Island program, the Cebu Startup Community, kasi it no matter how big you are or how big you get, the community of other founders that you can talk to, that you can share insights with, that you can collaborate with, will always be an additional point for success. And this community, this batch, and further out will help each other out. So I guess that's building blocks of business, team, and skills, and the community around you. I guess that's my 3 points here.
Thank you so much, Miss Carla. Miss Grace?
Yes. I've always said, ito based on my experience and based on what I learned from one of my mentors, Mr. Ciroli, Ernesto Ciroli. Every business requires three things for it to be successful, because you can analyze every successful business in the world. And that is one, you have someone who builds the product, someone who sells the product, and someone who watches over the money. There's no one entrepreneur that is very good at all three. So I'm the one who sells the product. I cannot code to save my life. And I would rather hire an accountant when it comes to minding the money. So that's very crucial. I also learned that when you're the strongest link in the chain of your business, you're also the weakest. So kailangan strengthen mo lahat ng members, because you're human and things can happen to you, and you could suffer or go through something in life. And when you're the strongest and you suddenly become the weakest, the whole thing falls apart. And it's as true from the beginning of a business to when it's big. So yung superstar founders are very far. I mean, to be honest, I don't know of any superstar founder, I think, that I would say made their business so successful just because of their own power. You really truly need the people behind you. We know of very big names like the late Steve Jobs, but he has a very strong team behind him. Elon Musk is all over the place, but he did not build any of those cars by himself. And as a matter of fact, every time Elon Musk is embroiled in a scandal, the bloody shares of his company tanks. So this is what I mean. It's like there's a certain sort of attractiveness, I guess, in being the rock star in a tech world, but it's a very deceptive perception, because people always just think, oh yeah, I'm a founder, yeah, but honestly, I would sometimes, in the hard parts of building a business, I would trade to being an employee just for a day, because it's tiring to be a founder. Everything is on your shoulders. So having the team is really key. Having a team that's equal to you is ideal, but getting a team who's better than you is the best. Because honestly, if you're the best in your team, you are gonna be in deep shit. Because honestly, you have to be the weakest. You have to be the least. Kaya lang, you have to be the glue for everybody. I think that's the main goal of a founder, is to be the glue for everyone. Kung sometimes should be the cheerleader, sometimes should be the the one who whips who whacks people so that they wake up sometimes. So yung parang kang janitor, tagalinis ka ng kalat ng iba. This is the main role of a founder, I think. But so yeah. So those are to me, it's somebody has to, a business has to sell, has to have sales. That in defense of my own skills. Because if you cannot sell anything, it's not a business. It's a hobby. But the product has to be good, because holy shit, you can only sell so much if a product is scrappy. Kasi the next thing is you'll be defending the bloody product and you'll be dealing with refunds and returns and complaints. They're no longer selling. So everything has to go together. And then of course I've had experience where you're selling so much and then only to realize when you see at the end of the month, walang yan lang kinita natin after so much effort, just because the math didn't work and you didn't realize the math didn't work because it's not your strong skill. This you learn from experience. Well, that's
All
it.
right. Thank you so much, Miss Grace. Wow, that was really insightful, no? Like, aside from learning how to map out your business model using the lean canvas, we also learned from seasoned entrepreneurs and those who help startup founders themselves, no, about what it takes to develop a business. And really, the bottom line is, know your customers first, know their psychology. And yes, before you develop the business, you develop first your organization, which is why we had to develop the organization as our first session, no? First class, because you have to have a good team before you are able to build or develop a business. So I think that's it for our Q&A this afternoon. Thank you so much. Miss Timmy, thank you very much for sharing with us your time and your expertise, as well as our panelists this afternoon, Sir JP, Miss Karla, Miss Grace. Thank you so much. It's always a wonderful discussion for everyone. All right, so I think that's the end of our live this afternoon, and we will now push forward and do the fireside chat. All right, sige. Thank you so much for those who tuned in to us this afternoon via Facebook Live. We appreciate it very much. See you again next Tuesday. We'll be talking more about marketing and sales. All right. Bye, everyone.